We must proceed with caution and comply with agreed process of reaching our collective goal while treating each other with uttermost respect.
Let's bury our differences and commit to a credible, unified single currency, President Buhari urges sub-regional leaders. Top brass of Nigerian security and intelligence re-strategize to stem emerging security threats.
The information available to us, it shows us clearly that children are asymptomatic carriers of this and can probably kill out almost all their grandparents just from attending school.
Education Ministry meets Senate committee, restates it is still not yet safe to go back to school.
Some of our colleagues have been infected. So are we going to say because somebody has been infected, I'm going to run away? We encourage them. We support them. But those of us that still on the battlefront, we have to do what it takes.
Plus, essential workers and COVID-19 frontliners celebrated as United Nations Public Service Day is marked. Good evening. Welcome to the Network News tonight on the NTA. I'm Ian Ray John. With me tonight are Adiola Komi Akere in Lagos and Asmao Habibu Shagari in Sokoto. President Muhammadu Buhari has made a case for ECOWAS leaders to bury their differences and commit to the emergence of a credible, unified and strong single currency, ECO, in the West African region. The president, who was speaking at an extraordinary virtual meeting of the Authority of Heads of States and Government of the West African Monetary Zone, WAMS, however, expressed concern over the suspicious actions taken so far by the West African Economic and Monetary Union on the issue, and wants that progress must therefore be made with caution. State House correspondent Adamu Sambu has details.
The crucial meeting, which had in attendance the presidents of Ghana, Gambia, Guinea, Sierra Leone and Liberia, was summoned to discuss and consider the implementation of the ECOWAS Monetary Cooperation Program, otherwise referred to as the Single Currency Agenda. And on this, President Muhammadu Buhari said remarkable progress has been made, including the adoption of the exchange rate regime, the name and model of the common central bank, as well as the symbol. He, however, expressed uneasy feeling that Francophone countries under the auspices of the West African Economic and Monetary Union now wish to take up the ECO in replacement for CFA franc ahead of the rest of member states. He noted that already French ministers have approved a bill to reform the CFA franc, and most, if not all, the French-speaking countries of the ECOWAS have passed legislations to that effect in their parliaments.
It is a matter of concern that a people with whom we wish to go into a union are taking these major steps without trusting us for discussion. We cannot ridicule ourselves by entering a union to disintegrate potentially no sooner than we enter into it. We need to be clear and unequivocal about our position regarding this process. We must also communicate same to the outside world effectively.
While restating the commitment of Nigeria and indeed Nigerians to the ECOWAS single currency, the president, however, made a case for the recommendations made by the Convergence Council to be critically considered so as to take a common position. He said the English-speaking West African Monetary Zone must be safeguarded from the pitfalls of a questionable union. President Buhari insists that steps must also be taken towards the evolution of a monetary union with the right fundamentals that will guarantee credibility, sustainability, as well as the overall regional prosperity and sovereignty.
We have all staked so much in this project to leave things to mere expediencies and convenience. We must proceed with caution and comply with agreed process of reaching our collective goal while treating each other with uttermost respect. Without these, our ambitions for a strategic monetary union as an ECOWAS bloc would be very well in serious jeopardy.
The extraordinary summit was summoned at short notice despite the preoccupation of all countries with the overwhelming impact of COVID-19 on health and economies. From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
Many thanks, Adamu. And I have joining me live to discuss about the ECOWAS single currency, Professor Ken Ife, macroeconomic policy analyst right here. Many thanks for joining us.
Thank you for inviting me.
All right, I'm sure you watched that report.
Yes, I did.
Talking about, the single currency and then the position of the president on the matter. Now, what do you make of the fatherly role being played by the president on this particular issue that has become controversial?
President Buhari is right. He's right in on the three counts. One is he has actually stated the case, a very strong, compelling case for a single currency because it has so many advantages. He has made that strong case. But he also says, stop the bickering and focus on the business at hand. We all know that there are suspicions around the adoption of Euro by the UMWA community. But the WAMSI zone have postponed 4 times. 2003, 2009, 2010, 14, 2020. They postponed at least 4 times. But the UMWA, they've been on the wings waiting for the 2020. They have a date with destiny. And that was the date they were looking and expecting their monetary policy independence. So we shouldn't begrudge them that. And there's nothing about a name. We will deal with that. The substance is what the president says, focus on the substance. And the substance we have 10 macroeconomic convergence criteria.
Okay.
We can't throw caution to the wind. That's what the president says. We can't throw caution to the wind. We have to build a solid foundation for this currency. And those foundations are in the macroeconomic convergence criteria. 4 of them are primary, 6 are secondary. And when you look into them, you see how divergent we are in the whole ECOWAS on meeting in any of those. The first one is a single-digit inflation. You know we are in 12.4. But only Togo has met all these criteria.
Okay.
And the others are. The second one, of course, talks about we shouldn't have a deficit of more than 4% of the GDP. Nigeria is just about 3% now, which the law says cannot be more than 3%. But Ghana is about 7%, and the same with many others. The other one talks about the foreign reserve should cover at least 3 months of import. We are okay, we can cover 9 months. But some are struggling. And then not to talk of others, the central bank should not finance more than 10% of the government revenue of the previous year. And we're all at different pages on those. And in fact, even one inside the 6 optional one is the revenue should be more than 20% of, that the government revenue should be more than 20% of the GDP. Ours is 6%. Most of them are around 18%. So you can see the distance Nigeria has to travel in moving, and we have so many reasons for that.
Okay.
Even the VAT will increase by 50%, 7.5. We are still the lowest in VAT. Others are 15% and above. So there are gaps. And that's where we have to focus on closing these gaps so that we can move.
Okay. Talking about closing the gaps and the issues that Nigeria have, looking at the French-speaking members that are, trying to announce the adoption of ECO as their single currency. Nigeria has actually remained calm about this particular situation. What can you deduce from Nigeria's position on it?
No, Nigeria is just being mature about this because we are a leader. We are by far the biggest economy in Africa, and also, of course, over 65% of the size of ECOWAS economy. We know that it is academic. That nomenclature is academic. The real test of the pudding is in the eating, the extent to which we can converge our economy and then have a single currency. If that doesn't happen, nothing happens. They already have a currency which is a CFA. The name just got changed. But it only means something to the rest of us when all our economies have come, because up until now, we didn't actually know the value of their currencies because France was managing all that. But now they've got the monetary policy independence. They are now getting experience that we have been getting since 1948, running our monetary policy. So we will get there. When we get to that bridge, we'll cross the bridge.
All right, thank you so much, Professor Ken Ife, for joining us.
Thank you.
In other news, the plan to adopt a national single window trading platform for all export and import processors in the country is in progress as Vice President Yemi Osinbajo presided over a meeting of the committee charged with the responsibility this Wednesday at the presidential villa. State House correspondent Jide Onifade reports.
The National Single Window Trading Platform, which consists of ICT, scanning facility, and quality control components, is expected to cater for the entire trading and stakeholder community seamlessly, provide a centralized portal and single repository to facilitate data exchange utilized by all relevant government agencies and stakeholders in the trading community. The Federal Executive Council constituted committee, chaired by Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, includes Minister of Finance Zainab Ahmed, Minister of Transport Rotimi Amechi, and Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment. Heads of ministries, departments and agencies, including Nigerian Customs Service, Nigerian Ports Authority, are also members of the committee. The virtual meeting was anchored from the office of the Vice President. Jide Onifade, NTA News.
The American Federal Bureau of Investigation, FBI, has commended the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission for offering assistance in the investigation and prosecution of 6 Nigerians involved in business email compromise and wire fraud in the United States of America. In a release made available to the EFCC by United States Attorney Joe Kelly and Special FBI Agent Christy Johnson, the FBI describes the EFCC as a foreign colleague and appreciates the Commission's continued collaboration and commitment to ending global fraud. The operation, codenamed Operation Rewired, was a hit against transatlantic syndicates of cyber criminals operating in intricate, sophisticated networks. 167 Nigerian suspected cyber criminals so far have been arrested, and a total sum of 169,850 United States dollars and 92 million naira were recovered from the suspects. A gang of 4 who specializes in generating and transmitting fake bank alerts was among 24 suspects paraded by the Nigeria Police Force in Abuja. Francis Form reports.
Spokesman of the police force, Frank Mba, busy in the office carrying out his legitimate duties. But elsewhere, men of the underworld are using his name for criminal activities. Frank Mba Foundation is a creation of the criminals to defraud unsuspecting members on Facebook, soliciting for assistance for the purchase of palliatives during the COVID-19 lockdown with the perfected bank accounts.
Luckily for us, our online intelligence monitoring team uncovered that plot before they could wreak much havoc.
A 54-year-old man still in search of love allegedly lured a young Filipino woman from Manila to Abuja, courtesy of the social media, and led her to his village, where she was kept in an inhuman form for 6 months. For this gang of 4, the use of fake bank accounts to pay for goods and services is their hobby.
They monitor your transactions, more like eavesdropping into your transactions. And when it is time for payments to be made, they have the capacity to divert those payments to their preferred accounts.
Laptops, mobile phones, SIM cards of different networks, ATM cards, fake US dollars, international passports, and other incriminating items were recovered from the suspects. In Abuja, Francis Form, NTA News.
And still on security, the Chief of Defence Staff, General Abayomi Olanishakin, is re-strategizing the nation's security architecture to stem emerging threats in parts of the country. A statement by the Coordinator of Defence Media Operations, Major General John NTA, indicates that upscaling security operations and enhancing synergy among security agencies was the thrust of the meeting attended by heads of military, paramilitary and intelligence security agencies services, while tasking heads of security outfits to collaborate and develop proactive measures to enhance sanity in the troubled region. General Olanishakin enjoins Nigerians to provide timely, credible information to complement the renewed drive. Meanwhile, Chief of the Air Staff, Air Marshal Sadiq Abubakar, says operatives of the Nigerian Air Force under Operation Wutan Daji neutralized 10 bandit camps in Katsina within 3 days of air operations. The Chief of the Air Staff, who was in Katsina on assessment of the ongoing operations, also inspected the construction of taxiway, apron, hangar and aircraft shelter located at Umaru Musa Yar'Adua International Airport, Katsina. Shehu Adanu reports.
The renewed commitment of the federal government to fighting insecurity in the country, particularly the resurgence of armed banditry in the northwest, is yielding positive results, with operatives of the Nigerian Air Force under Operation Wutan Daji neutralized bandit locations in Katsina. The Nigerian Air Force is intensifying air strike on the location of the bandits. As Chief of the Air Staff, Air Marshal Sadiq Abubakar said, all the required armament have been provided to neutralize the bandits and their locations.
I'm very satisfied with what we have done so far. We have flown over close to 100 hours in the last 3 days, and so many locations have been identified. 10 camps have been cleared in the last 3 days, and we're going to continue to make sure that we make it extremely difficult for these bandits to come and threaten our communities.
While expressing gratitude to the support and cooperation of the governments and people of Katsina, Sokoto, Zamfara, Niger and Kaduna states, the Chief of the Air Staff appealed for patience, saying Nigerian Air Force in synergy with other security operatives are doing everything possible to end banditry in the country. The Chief of the Air Staff, Air Marshal Sadiq Abubakar, who briefed operatives of the Operation Wutan Daji, said the ongoing construction of taxiway, apron, hangar and aircraft shelter is aimed at protecting the aircraft, armament and personnel from the harsh weather. Before the arrival of the Chief of the Air Staff to Katsina, 5 aircrafts including Alpha Jet, Mi-171E helicopter with backdoor gunner, Nigerian Air Force surveillance aircraft and Mi-35P helicopter gunship departed for a mission to the front line. In Katsina, Shehu Adamu, NTA News.
Ahead in the news, celebrating essential workers as the world marks Public Service Day amid the pandemic. Details when we return this day.
I wish to once again commend the frontline workers across the country who, on a daily basis, risk everything to ensure we win this fight. For those who got infected in the line of duty, rest assured that government will do all it takes to support you and your families during this exceedingly difficult period. I will also take this opportunity to assure you all that your safety, well-being, and welfare remains paramount to our government. I am using this opportunity to express our deepest condolences to the families of all Nigerians that have lost their loved ones as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. This is our collective loss, and we share your grief.
Stay Home data plan. All existing Glow customers now enjoy up to 20% more data. Dial *777# to choose a plan. Glow Unlimited.
Introducing the new Nivea Dry Impact and Dry Comfort deodorants. Now with quick dry effect and longer lasting fragrance. Guaranteed to keep you feeling dry and fresh all day. Proven 48-hour protection and longer lasting fragrance from Nivea.
Never get caught unfresh with the new Nivea Dry Fresh deodorants.
I just don't understand this coronavirus thing. Is it real?
See, coronavirus, known as COVID-19, it's a global problem and has killed thousands of people in China, Italy, Spain, UK, US, and other countries around the world.
Okay. Now, why are they saying that we should stay home?
Because if you go outside and get in contact with someone who is infected, you become infected and then come back home, affect your family. That's how it happens in other countries.
Now, please, help me explain what this social distance is all about.
See, as we are now, the virus travels through the air and by touch. We must maintain 6-foot distance at all times.
Oh, so it's not by washing my hands with soap and water or hand sanitizer that is only important?
Washing of our hands regularly is very important. But we must come together and fight this virus like we did Ebola. It is our responsibility to each other.
We have observed the lockdown. We have practiced the measures in order to curb the spread of the virus, but we can do better. The coronavirus spread is increasing daily, and only together can we cut down the numbers and defeat the spread of the virus. Remember, COVID-19 is not a death sentence, and a recovered patient cannot spread the disease. Do not stigmatize. Do not hesitate to report any case, or if you have come in contact with anybody that has been infected with COVID-19. If you have cough and fever, please stay at home and call your state hotline. Find state numbers at www.covid19.ncdc.gov.ng. Remember, it is for your own good and for the good of every Nigerian. Let us do better and defeat the virus. Together, we can do this. This message is brought to you by the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, Africa's largest television network.
We dey catch feelings, we dey cry.
Amaka,
Life is
kilo
sweet,
shele.
try. If you do better thing, you go thrive, mama.
Leave that house now.
Amaka. Stay where you are. You are going nowhere. Amaka!
Movies like this, series, and much more. Download the Airtel TV app.
Mr. Announcer, you don't tell them say this film is still there on top of fire. And you say me, we still the shoot, oh.
Download the Airtel TV app from Apple and Android Play Store. Enjoy first 7 days data free. Airtel TV by Airtel, the smartphone network.
Welcome back. And now talking politics, the All Progressives Congress Edo Governorship Primary Election Committee has submitted its report to the National Working Committee of the party. National Vice Chairman South of the party, Hilad Etar, received the report on behalf of the acting National Chairman at the party's National Secretariat in Abuja. Commended the people of Edo State, especially supporters of APC, for a peaceful conduct. Salihu Abdullahi reports.
The National Working Committee received the report shortly after a closed-door meeting where the report of the lifting of suspension of Adams Oshomole by Etsako West Ward 10 was received, and the new Deputy National Secretary of the party, Wogu Bones, formally received. Senator Surajuddin Ajibola Bashiru, Secretary of the APC Edo Governorship Primary Election, submitted the committee's report and acknowledged the commitment demonstrated by APC members in Edo through diligent obedience to the rules during the primary election.
And we also witnessed going to defeat the commitment of our party member to the success of our party.
National Vice Chairman South of the party, Hilad Etar, assured of a peaceful governorship primary in Ondo State, like the one that produced Eze Yamu as the party's candidate in Edo State.
The NWC has managed a seamless transition from Comrade Adams Aliyu Oshomole to His Excellency Senator Abiola Ajomabi, and the NWC is 80% intact.
The National Working Committee said recent developments are internal party issues that are already getting the attention of the stakeholders as a united progressive family. In Abuja, Salihu Abdullahi, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, reminds political parties that the conduct of party primaries, including resolution of disputes arising therefrom, will end on Saturday, June the 27th, 2020. While the submission of the list of candidates the parties propose to sponsor at the election and affidavits of validly nominated candidates will close at 6 p.m. on Monday, 29th June 2020. A statement by the INEC National Commissioner for Information, Festus Okoye, indicates that political parties should note that the organization and scheduling of various activities and processes leading to the conduct of elections are complex and involve extensive and careful planning, and any disruption of these processes comes to a huge cost to the nation. The statement adds that the Commission is closely monitoring the cases arising from the administration of political parties, the conduct of primaries, and nomination of candidates. The Commission, however, restates its avowed commitment to continue to obey all orders and judgments from properly constituted courts in accordance with the rule of law. Also, with the September and October off-season governorship elections drawing closer in Edo and Ondo states, opposition political parties have restated commitments towards peaceful electioneering. Timothy Yusuf has an update on this.
From the major opposition political party, the PDP, the National Secretariat has been a beehive of activities, with aspirants coming to either pick up expression of interest and nomination forms, or submitting same.
Our primary election will be free, fair, clean, clear, and democratic.
The situation is same at the National Secretariat of the Action Democratic Party, ADP.
Political parties are very important. They are key elements of democracy, if you want to develop democracy in any environment.
Meanwhile, it is another time for a reminder on political players that election is not war.
We need peace in Edo. We need peace in Ondo. The bottom line is one person has got to run affairs of the state. Whether we like, it's not going to be two persons.
Our political parties must be seen and that they have internal democratic process.
The Edo and Ondo State governorship elections are slated for September and October 2020, respectively. In Abuja, Timothy Yusuf, NTA News.
And away from politics, there's no doubt that the novel coronavirus has created new protocols within workspaces and to the extreme resulted in global job cuts in hundreds of millions. Despite the challenge, some workers are still engaged and contributing their quota in ensuring that the world moves on until a solution is found for COVID-19. Adebola Brooks-Linsande reports on the celebration of essential workers and other frontliners as the world commemorates the United Nations Public Service Day.
In December 2002, the United Nations General Assembly adopted and designated 23rd June every year as Public Service Day, owing to their remarkable act of service to humankind in the midst of the outbreak of COVID-19, which has affected more than 180 countries, infected millions, and killed hundreds of thousands of people. These set of workers are being celebrated. The United Nations says the entire world is deeply indebted to these essential workers.
It's time for a coordinated global, regional, and national effort to create decent work for all as the foundation of a green, inclusive, and resilient recovery.
Ilegogo Anthony is the Deputy Director of Chemical Pathology, National Hospital, Abuja. He is one of the many essential workers on the front line to save humanity from the clutches of the unseen enemy, coronavirus.
Some of our colleagues have been infected. So are we going to say because somebody has been infected, I'm going to run away? We encourage them. We support them. But those of us that still on the battlefront, we have to do what it takes.
And thank government for considering to pay the allowances, special allowances for the frontline medical officers and other team.
In achieving the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, experts say effective delivery of services is crucial.
We have not brought in strategic partners to fast-track the virtual learning training approach of the Institute.
The day, which is domesticated by the African Union, is also set aside to celebrate the value and virtue of public service to the community.
So what member states should do, including Nigeria, is to declare this day, to make it a public holiday.
With COVID now, it has shown us that digitalization is not an option. So we must marry the e-government master plan, support the federal government to push it forward.
Since 2003, it is the first time that the day is being celebrated without the usual public service awards to promote and reward innovation and excellence. Adebola Brooks-Linsande, NTA News.
Now, the Radio, Television, Theatre and Arts Workers Union of Nigeria, Electoral, is calling on all its workers to be conscious of the environment with regards to their health and safety, especially as the nation begins the gradual easing of lockdown. A statement by the General Secretary, Electoral, Akwaoso, indicates that the directive by UNI Global Union, which is the global umbrella body of union in the media, has become imperative given the outbreak of coronavirus, which is currently taking its toll on human lives and impacting world economies. Saudi Arabia to limit the number of Hajj pilgrims to 1,000 as South Africa sets to start Africa's first coronavirus vaccine pilot. Adebola Brooks-Linsande has these and more on the COVID-19 Global Update.
Some Muslims have expressed disappointment at Saudi Arabia's decision to scale back this year's Hajj pilgrimage. However, many accepted it was necessary as the kingdom battles a major coronavirus outbreak. Riyadh said the Hajj would be very limited, with only pilgrims already in the country allowed to perform the rituals, marking the first time in modern Saudi history that foreign visitors have been barred. And South Africa is set to roll out the continent's first coronavirus vaccine trial. The vaccine, developed by the Oxford Jenner Institute, is already being evaluated in the United Kingdom, where 4,000 participants have signed up for the trial. As at about 7 p.m. local time, 9,255,627 persons have been infected with coronavirus globally. From this figure, 475,896 people have died, while 4,986,500 have recovered, as published on the COVID-19 dashboard of Worldometer. The Africa Center for Disease Control has put the total number of COVID-19 cases in the continent at 316,079, 8,339 deaths, and 150,377 recoveries. The Nigeria Center for Disease Control says 20,919 persons have been infected with coronavirus in the country. So far, 7,109 persons have recovered, while 525 fatalities have been recorded.
Now, looking at education amid the pandemic, the Minister of State for Education, Chukwuemeka Wanjuba, says at the moment the cost is not clear for the resumption of schools, as the ministry will continue with engagement to that effect. The minister was speaking at an interactive session between the ministry and the Senate Committee on Basic and Secondary Education, which called for resumption of schools. Ignatius Nkwo reports on this and other committee meetings.
For more than 4 months now, schools across the country have been on lockdown, academic calendars disrupted due to COVID-19 pandemic. Worried over the possible effects of these on the education sector, the Senate Committee on Basic and Secondary Education met with the Minister and Management of the Ministry of Education and the Executive Secretary of the Universal Basic Education. The committee called for reopening of schools with safety measures in place.
The information available to us, it shows us clearly that children are asymptomatic carriers of this and can probably kill out almost all their grandparents just from attending school.
If we sit down and plan properly, maybe not all the population will move at the same time. We can say this number in the morning, this number in the afternoon, this number, something. We have to be innovative.
Legislative engagements with the executive continued, with the Senate Committee on Power demanding to know from the Marketing Department of the Transmission Company of Nigeria the cause of market failure in the power sector.
Market operator, you will tell us why the market has not been functioning and whether you're taking any measures to address that.
The activation of PG by discos was regarded as the pivot upon which the market growth sustainability would rely. Unfortunately, the discos failed to comply with, and MPED could not enforce it.
At another meeting room, the Senate Committee on Public Accounts scrutinized the amount of money Federal Ministry of Water Resources expended on some ongoing projects, especially the Adada Dam in Enugu and Ibusa Earth Dam in Delta States.
Because the minister wants to complete every project that he decided to work on, because of the benefit to the communities.
Because you can, even if you deliver the dam, you can't say the project is completed if the people are not getting water to drink.
The public hearing was in response of the Senate to the 2015 audit report of the Auditor General of the Federation. From the National Assembly, Ignatius Nkwo, NTA News.
Away from the National Assembly now, worried by the alarming rise in number of crimes and vices perpetrated mostly by unemployed youths, the administration of Professor Babagana Umar Zulum in Borno State has in the last 1 year invested significantly in job creation and empowerment for the vulnerable and unemployed through vocational skills, livelihood support and entrepreneurship development. This is to ensure self-reliance and economic independence. Kaigama Mustafa Shehu reports.
The people-centered government of Professor Babagana Umar Zulum had in the last 1 year constructed and equipped 2 new mega skill activation centers at Muna in Jere and Marama in our local government areas, while those in Mafa and Manguno are under construction. This is to train youths and women into different trades such as tailoring, computer application, sack making, tie and dye, welding, among others. The Governor's Room administration during the year has empowered 28,162 petty traders, youths, and trade groups who are mostly of low income with the microcredit facility to boost their trade to the tune of 515,160,000 naira. Even though the NFA is a federal government investment program for beneficiaries in Borno, they are supported by the state government by ensuring that the state target is achieved in skills development such as carpentry, plumbing, masonry, and electrical installation. The government of Professor Babagana Umar Zulum ensured that each training is given starter packs to commence businesses at the end of their training, in addition to a monthly stipend.
After this, we'll go for ITF, which is 9 months.
A privilege for me to stand here and to do the training, which I give an allowance of 10,000.
On behalf of my colleagues, we are all grateful with that government.
With increasing development in GSM and new communication technologies, Governor Babagana Umar Zulum has provided working tools and cash support to the youths engaged in marketing, repairs and sale of cell phones to boost their businesses at the new GSM village. So among job creation challenges, Governor Babagana Umar Zulum has employed 10,000 youths and women as sanitation vanguards, in addition to a monthly allowance for 12,000 civilian JTF, hunters and vigilantes engaged in counter-insurgency operations.
Government spent the sum of 515 million naira, 160,000 on this scheme. My concern with youth empowerment is also reflected in the policy decision to create a full-fledged Ministry of Science, Technology and Innovation with permanent focus on youth skill acquisition apprentice, youth empowerment and entrepreneurship scheme.
In December, the governor had, through the Ministry of Science, Technology and Innovation, created a job portal for employment of the teeming unemployed in Borno State. The ministry has also created a website to showcase government activities, thus making information about Borno State accessible on the internet. In Maiduguri, Hega Mustafa Shehu, NTA News.
Let's now join Adeola in Lagos for more news. Adeola, it's over to you.
Thank you, Inyari. Family members and security agencies are yet to unravel the reason behind the murdering of a 25-year-old mother of two by her lover in Lagos. Annie Daniels reports.
The murder of 25-year-old mother of two by her lover, Chris Ndukwe, occurred in Lekki area of Lagos.
The man, also a 39-year-old man, was also lying down with foam coming out of his mouth, then 2 empty cans of chemical substance suspected to be sniper. Then on the surface you can see sniper written on it, found beside him, and there was an energy drink too by the side, and you can see her hair scattered all over the scene. So the scene is a scattered one with blood stain spread all over.
Bala Elkanah said the deceased persons were not married, although they had 2 children.
Even the family members that were interviewed said they are not aware of any serious issue, but they know it is a complicated relationship. They have been on and off. They don't even live together.
The police spokesperson says the crime scene has been preserved by the homicide team of the Nigerian police, while all the exhibits found were picked up for analysis. The remains of the 2 lovers have been deposited at the mortuary for autopsy. Based on investigation, Bala Elkanah says the murder is premeditated, and the reason for it is yet to be established. Meanwhile, investigations are still ongoing. In Lagos, Annie Daniels, NTA News.
Cases of the coronavirus pandemic in Nigeria continue to rise astronomically, while the latest statistics provided by the Nigeria Center for Disease Control reveals that there are more than 20,000 cases in the country. What is responsible for this rise, despite all necessary measures put in place? Imole Ayotokede will tell us in this report. Since the lockdown was relaxed by the federal government in the 3 states where COVID-19 was more prevalent, including Lagos State, business activities have gradually picked up. However, the use of face masks and obedience to social distancing, which are the major safety preventive rules to curb further spread of the disease, are slowly fading off, as a large percentage of Lagosians now go about their businesses, throwing caution to the wind. Ike Nwana and Xavier Clement both sell wares under the popular Obalende Bridge. Like most people, they have grown complacent and abandoned their hygiene measures to protect themselves. These are their reasons.
The virus is not in Nigeria.
Why do you think so?
I think so because I have been with different type of people in this country. I have never seen anyone say, you see or you hear.
That face mask, it depends my 2 years. It depends for this place.
Other respondents view the usage from the angle of discomfort.
We are tired of wearing the face mask. In fact, everyday face mask, in fact, it doesn't even enable one to breathe very well. So we are tired of the face mask. Please just be going normal the way we have been going before.
For this commercial bus driver, Joseph Eze, who plies CMS to Obalinde and Ikeja, the transport regulation has not been easy to comply with.
From reality, that is a carry 4-4. We obey the law, carry 2-2. Upon that, we dey carry 2-2. You are measure about face mask. Conductor use face mask. Passenger before I move my motor, I make sure say passenger use face mask. Upon that, last man is the trouble bus. Task force, if you there for bus stop, task force will come block us.
It is not a new fact that Lagos State is the epicenter of the coronavirus pandemic in Nigeria. This could be connected with little or no compliance with the safety measures. However, experts believe that the power to adequately tackle further spread of the virus lies in the hands of every individual. In Lagos, Imoli Ayotukide, NTA News.
The network news will continue after this time out to stay on.
For over 70 years, we've practiced healthy hygiene habits together. The world needs us to keep our fight going against germs. So let's wash our hands for 20 seconds regularly. Dettol. Protect what's worth fighting for.
I will still stand. I will still stand on the day that I finally wear my colors of pride, when the most prolific stars rise to look adversaries in the eye, putting them in their place. When the Spanish Armada sets sail once again to take over the rough seas, the moment of excellent surprises, remarkable magic, unshakable dominance. Yes, I will still stand. When my passion melts away all the uncertainties, when I get reacquainted with my heroes, I will still stand. Get ready for the return of live sports only on GoTV. Stay connected or reconnect to GoTV and we will give you an upgrade to the next package. GoTV. Live it, love it.
Nigerians, let us take responsibility. Stay healthy, stay safe, and curb the spread of the virus. Take responsibility. The coronavirus spreads from one person to another. Let us avoid crowd gathering of any kind for any reason. Take responsibility. Avoid traveling from one state to another during these lockdown restrictions. Obey all the rules that are put in place. Take responsibility. Stop spreading fake news and unverified reports about the coronavirus. There is no known cure for COVID-19. Take responsibility. Observe all the measures that can help stop the spread of the virus. Together, we can do this, but only if we take responsibility. This message is brought to you by the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, Africa's largest television network.
Good to have you back. President Nana Akufo-Addo of Ghana has spoken with President Muhammadu Buhari, expressing his sincere apology for demolition of a building on the premises of the Nigerian High Commission in Accra, Ghana. A statement by the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity, Garba Shehu, says the Ghanaian leader told President Buhari that he has directed full investigation into the incident in a telephone call. Some suspects had been arrested and will be arraigned in court. The House of Representatives says the gravity of the invasion of Nigeria's property in Ghana makes it a matter beyond arbitration by a national court. The matter, it says, should be settled at a higher level of diplomacy. National Assembly correspondent Lamia Ali reports this point was stressed when the House interacted with the Minister of Foreign Affairs on the matter.
House Speaker Femi Gbajabiamila and the Committee on Foreign Affairs asked the interaction convened to hear latest developments on the demolition of Nigerian property in Ghana carried out by non-state actors, said the incident, happening not for the first time, is appalling and demanded application of more stringent measures.
It was the U.S. embassy that was demolished in Ghana. Do we think the U.S. will be talking about apology, we'll look into it? That's what I want to know.
An embassy of Nigeria housing our staff will be so porous that there is no single policeman guarding that premises.
Breach of diplomatic relationship has happened.
The Minister of Foreign Affairs, Geoffrey Onyema, acknowledged that the government of Ghana is responsible for securing diplomatic property, adding that the ministry is awaiting a more comprehensive brief on the matter.
There was no complicity on the part of the Ghanaian government. The President of Ghana is absolutely livid with what has happened.
In another development, the Comptroller General of Nigeria Customs Service, Hamid Ali, has appeared before the ad hoc committee investigating unspent budgeted funds following allegations that the service breached Public Procurement Act in the award of contracts.
We need to see the procedure for the award, which is normally led by BPP. All of us seated here were not there in 2010. But it's a continuity, and therefore we take responsibility for what it is.
Meanwhile, House Committee on Public Accounts has summoned the Minister of Industry, Adini Adebayo, over alleged failure of the Standards Organization of Nigeria to render its account from 2014 to 2018.
We are also considering auditors' queries, but the General of the Federation queries. So those are the two issues we have on Standard Organization of Nigeria.
From the National Assembly, Lami Ali, NTA News.
Sokoto is our next stop, and Asmao will guide us.
Thank you, Yare. Good evening and welcome to Sokoto. Following the presidential approval for the revival of community-oriented policing across the nation, Sokoto State Police Command has inaugurated the initiative in Sokoto. Sheikh Muhammad Deti reports that Commissioner of Police Ibrahim Sani Kaoji piloted the inauguration in Bodinga, Wamako local government areas of the state. The report.
Community policing across the globe has been effective in curbing crime through making the police and community members work together in the prevention of criminal acts. The initiative by the federal government is aimed at reducing crime in communities as well as deepening trust between the public and the law enforcement agents. Sokoto State Commissioner of Police Ibrahim Sani Kaoji said community policing is a strategy anchored on trust between people and the security operatives. He noted that in each community, people, especially the youths, are selected and trained on operations across the local government areas of the state.
That's involving all the peasant farmers, involving the Fulani settlers, involving the district head, involving the youth, all other people who is a resident of the community. That is the process of recruiting. They can be recruited, and the government is ready for them to do that in collaboration with the state government, and they train them. After training them, they bring them back to the community.
Communities of the two local government areas of Wamoko and Bodinga appreciated the initiative, pledging their commitment and support to the success of the community policing. Experts believe that if properly implemented, community policing will improve the nation's security system and build confidence in the minds of Nigerians. In Sokoto, Sheikh Muhammad Deti, NTA News.
And that's it from Sokoto. The news will continue with Ian Ri in Abuja.
Many thanks, Asmao. The reconstituted NNPC board has been inaugurated with a charge to think out of the box and come up with innovative ideas that will help the corporation weather the storm of unstable oil prices and due to COVID-19. Minister of State Petroleum Resources, Timi Silva, and Chairman NNPC board say this is the only way to realize the agenda of transparency, accountability and performance excellence rolled out by the NNPC. Lydia Sampson has the report.
The NNPC is a pivotal organization to the economic growth and wealth creation of the country, and the need to ensure the organization delivers on its strategic objectives is a mandate that the minister says must be pursued by the board and management.
No doubt your wealth of experience will be displayed in delivering our mandate. We are all aware that the federal government, under the leadership of President Muhammadu Buhari, is committed to transparency and accountability. We should bear this in mind as we provide quality direction and strategic oversight of the corporation's activities.
For the GMD NNPC, working with the board members to recapitalize NNPC to deliver dividends to Nigerians is sacrosanct.
It's the very basic expectation of our shareholders that this company must deliver dividend. And you cannot deliver dividend except you do things in world-class way, in the most prudent manner. And doing that requires the help and support of all of us.
The board members committed to the protection of national interest, exhibition of high standards of integrity and compliance with the law. In Abuja, Lydia Sampson, NTA News.
In other news, the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, Sadia Umar Farouk, on behalf of the federal government, commiserated with the Edo State government and those affected by the fire disaster which occurred in the early hours of Monday at the historic Oba Market in Benin City. A statement by the Deputy Director, Press of the Ministry, Rhoda Ishaku Ilia, says the Minister extends her sympathy to the victims of the Oba Market fire over the loss of goods and property, especially in this difficult time under the COVID-19 pandemic. The Minister assured the victims that the Ministry is in consultation with the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, on the provision of adequate relief to help the victims cushion the effect of this disaster. And on a sad note, President Muhammadu Buhari commiserates with former Minister of Education, Mrs. Obiageli Ezekwesili, and her entire family over the passing of her mom, Mrs. Cecilia Nwanyaku Ujubwonu. In a letter of condolence, the President urged Obi Ezekwesili, her family, and all associates of the late matriarch to find strength in the good works of Mrs. Ujubwonu, whose testimony to reverence for God and service to humanity continues to resonate. President Buhari condoles with the grandchildren of the late businesswoman and members of the Redeemed Christian Church of God, knowing they will particularly miss her counsel and guidance, garnered from years of working hard to raise a disciplined and focused family. The President prays that the Almighty God will comfort the family and grant peaceful rest to the soul of the departed. And that's Network News tonight. Many thanks for being a part of it. Good night.